Today I'm here to show you one of the most popular wigs that Noriko offers. And I have heard from a ton of you who love this wig and tell me that she is your daily driver. I'm talking about Alva from Noriko, and I have her in the color Ice Mocha R, and we're going to learn all about all of it. My name is Denise. I'm also known as heywigsister on Instagram and Facebook, and I'm partnering with 𝘩𝘠 to bring you this review. They sent me Alva so I could show all of my wig sisters. This is not the first time I've shared Alva. I reviewed her quite a few years ago now and even did a tip video showing how I trimmed the bangs on a wig because Alva has bangs and they're a little long for me. So she is really meant to be worn with a full bang, but you will see that I'm just going to sweep them to the side for the purposes of this video. I will refer you to that tip video if you ever need some advice on how to trim bangs on a wig. I use a thinning razor. It is foolproof. Anyone can do it, and it works like a charm. 𝘩𝘠 is a great retailer. I've been partnering with them a lot lately, and I'm so grateful to them for the opportunity to share all of these wigs with my wig sisters. They're both an online retailer, and they have some retail locations that you can visit if you're in Canada, and one is coming soon in the United States, probably more. That would be my guess. But for now, I will put some details in the description box below. You can go check them out. And I have a coupon code that will save you 30% off Alva and almost all the wigs that they carry, which is great because wigs can be expensive. But Alva's a little bit more affordable. Let's take a look at this one from all sides. If you are a fan of a bob with bangs and you can do a basic cap wig, Alva should absolutely be on your list. This is a basic cap, otherwise known as a machine-made cap wig, which means she doesn't have a lace front, she doesn't have a mono top, which is why having a full bang is really helpful because you don't really need a lace front when you have a full bang. And so she is just so classic and just a great everyday throw and go workhorse wig. And what I mean by workhorse is this wig is going to last you a long time, way longer than a lot of synthetic wigs, partly because of the cap type. These basic caps are really sturdy. You don't have lace to tear or fray or stretch out, and they are just going to last and last, partly because these fibers are great. So this is what a basic cap looks like inside. We have ear tabs. Really hard to see these dark colors. Ear tabs, they do not have soft velvety material. They're pretty basic. We also do not have an extended nape, and Alva has bra strap or pull adjusters, so you can adjust the circumference a little bit. These don't always like to stay though, so one little tip is to put a little stitch with a needle and thread once you get the adjuster set where you want it, and then you won't have any trouble with it shifting. And then the rest is open wefted in the back. Really lightweight cap. Alva is a very lightweight wig. She is what I would consider a kind of a low to medium density. She weighs, do I have the weight? Yes, 3.9 ounces. So really lightweight. One thing that I am always surprised about on Alva is the lack of permatease. She does have crimpy fibers. Because this is a basic cap, they put these little crimpy fibers right at the cap so that you hide the cap. You can't see down to cap. But she doesn't have the traditional poofy, pillowy permatease that you sometimes associate with basic cap wigs. And especially Noriko. Noriko can be known to have some wigs with some volume and some permatease, but Alva doesn't. It's really natural. She is not poofy. She doesn't have all this roundness to her or this fullness on the top that can sometimes overwhelm, especially new wig wearers, which is why I think she is so popular and such a go-to for so many. One thing I do want to mention though about Alva, and you can't really tell on this one. I'm going to grab my brush here so I can demonstrate. You can't really tell on this one, but some of the colors sometimes make the Permatease a little visible right where the part would go. So right here, if I get really up close, you might be able to see a little bit of that Permatease, some wiry fibers right there. On a darker color or a rooted color, you're not going to really see that as much as on a non-rooted color. So if you got a non-rooted blonde or a non-rooted gray, you might be able to see some of those wiry fibers right there. In that tip video that I did, where I show you how to trim bangs with a thinning razor, I do talk about that, and I give you some tips on how to deal with visible Permatease if you get a wig that has it. You know what? Sometimes we have to deal with things on wigs that aren't ideal, and basic cap wigs, a real pro is that they can be really affordable, especially compared to wigs with full mono tops and lace fronts. But a con can be that sometimes they have more Permatease than we'd like, which Alva really doesn't, or sometimes they can have visible Permatease. A way to deal with that is to get a brush and just kind of get in there and brush through that Permatease a little bit. What I'm doing, I'm holding it down while I do it. What it's doing is I'm kind of waking up these fibers. Sometimes, you know, these wigs can look really flat and lackluster when they come out of the box. You know, they've been packed in there securely. You don't know how long they've been packed in there. So sometimes you just need to wake the fibers up. You need to give them a little oomph. And because Alva does not have a lot of, or really any of the traditional Permatease, doing this isn't going to make her voluminous. So I wouldn't worry about making her too full, but that's going to lift up those fibers off that cap and really help you to hide if there is visible Permatease. Like I said, the darker colors, the rooted colors, that isn't really an issue. And also another tip would be to wear a headband or style her, especially when you're new. I think over time you realize people don't notice much of anything when it comes to your wigs. We're very sensitive and we notice things, but nobody's looking at your hair that close. They're not looking at the top of your head and staring at it long enough to notice anything. But if you're worried about that, throwing a headband on is really going to help. You know, it's probably not going to do much for other people because, again, they're not going to be looking, but for your confidence, your, you know, lessening the worry that you might have, headbands are a godsend. And I love these cloth covered headbands because they go with wigs so well. These, I've yet to have one of these be tight enough to squeeze my head with a wig, and they've worked with every wig I've ever tried them with. You can get them in a ton of colors, and just kind of throwing it on top here is going to hide if there is any visible Permatease, or even if it's too, you know, if you have a wig that's too poofy for you, a headband is going to help you get over that hump. Tucking the hair behind your ears, throwing that on, and look at how already it looks like it has less hair. And imagine if this were a real voluminous wig. That's the trick to helping you get past that. The fit is pretty average. I do get extra cap in Alva. I have a very petite over the top of my head, and so I expect to get that extra cap. She does have a little bit of stretch, not a ton, and I do have to cinch her in, and I would wear a wig grip with this one to help her fit my average petite head more comfortably. So that tells me that this cap is running average. Let's talk about color. Ice Mocha R. The R means this is a rooted color, but on a brunette like this, it's really just a little bit of a shadow, but it isn't an overly kind of dark root compared to the rest of the color. I'm a huge fan of this color. I love the pops of blonde highlights throughout. They are a golden blonde, kind of a warm, and I would say that even though this is more of a medium brown base, it does tend to lean warm. It leans slightly auburn inside. So I would say if you're looking for more of a neutral to cool brunette, Ice Mocha R isn't that color. It is warmer than that, and in some lighting it is going to give a little bit of an auburn tone. It's not auburn, it's not red, but you know how it kind of can lean that direction? I would say this color does. And then look at the blonde. You just have the pops of these golden blonde. It's almost a frosted effect. this blonde that they have on here. So if you like kind of that frosted effect, that's what I see on this color. Outside, which we'll do in just a moment here, it's going to be a lot more neutral. You're not going to see the pops of the blonde as much as you do inside. That's really how lighting works. And so I always recommend you look at these colors both inside and outside and look at them in multiple different lighting. Maybe your kitchen lighting versus your bedroom lighting versus your bathroom lighting, and you'll see it differently in each lighting, and then kind of aggregate that and make your decision on whether or not the color is for you, because it really does vary. It's a gorgeous medium brown, warm with visible highlights. She's really pretty. Let's get outside. Let me know if you have any questions. Don't forget about 𝘩𝘤𝘢. They are a great retailer, and I'm a fan, and I'm so glad to partner with them. I'll see you guys soon. All right, here we go. Got some direct sunlight on here. Gorgeous brunette. Have a great day. Hey friends, thanks so much for watching. Here are a few videos I think you might enjoy. Go ahead and click on one and watch.